Morning, John.
Hey, Phil. Good to see you, brother.
You too. Had a good week or two?
Yes, how are you? It's amazing. We always seem to have, maybe we're 1 week out of sync somehow, because we seem to miss the champs by the major events by a week.
Or a few days and we have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we should start there, Phil.
Okay, well, wait there. What about the shirt? What do you want
Oh,
to say?
yes. Okay, this is, as previously mentioned, MP5 was a dominant side, 11, 12, 13. We won 3 trips to Vegas. So what happens when you do that, your points start to creep up.
Points,
so we had to break the team up.
Yeah.
So I think this was the first team after we split the team.
Okay.
So this is, I think this is chaos rules. I just said
Yeah, no.
back, you know, do the
Oh, yeah. I see the chaos rules.
So yeah, and so I like the colours. So I thought I'll give this one a spin today, Phil.
Oh, that's excellent. All right, so we're going to start with the 39
ball. Yeah, actually, great weekend at pool. Long weekend, of course, because the Friday they had the Scotch doubles.
Yeah.
Well, we just call it doubles, but for those people that don't play it, it's an alternate shot with your doubles partner.
Yeah.
And the two teams to make the final was well, obviously the favourites were
James
there.
and Mikey, yeah.
James and Mikey, they won the last 2 major events, including the Australian ones. So,
And they got, I know they played Frank Chow and Sam.
Frank and Sam. Oh, it's my fault. I didn't get there. Yeah,
they're both from Sydney.
both from Sydney. Yeah, and they're good players.
Yeah, well, Sam had won the. No, sorry, Joe Chow. He'd won the Australian 8 ball a few months back on them tables, so he was already a decent player. But they did very well on making the final.
Yeah,
but,
it was good. But I mean, no one was going to get past Jimmy and Mikey. They have a natural rapport.
Yeah, well,
They play
that before. They like their own sync and
similar style of game. They don't have to communicate verbally. They virtually just point their cue out like that, and that's where the white ball ends up, and then walk around and play your shot. But yeah, so well done again. There was no surprise to anyone, including all the participants. They realised that they're always going to be up against it, because their record's so strong and how well they combine. Then we get to the singles, which obviously a full weekend for the singles, qualifying Saturday, knockout rounds, double elimination I think it was on the Sunday.
was it a straight knockout?
It was actually, yes, it was.
Round robin, the round robin. Both days were about round robins. Okay,
and then finished with the knockout stages, and we had in the semis Jimbo playing Kurt Dunham. Good to see Kurt back. Kurt, as you know, had a crack at the Pro Tour, Pro Snooker, and good on him. You know, I mean, we all would like to have had a crack. He was good enough to have a go, but very hard to sustain.
He actually was quite competitive over there too.
Yeah.
He was in the mix, just didn't quite get there, but he was in the mix.
And nice lad, always been a good lad.
Australian 8 ball champion.
Yes, not much he hasn't done. Actually.
Yeah, he's a good
player.
Fantastic.
And good lad. So he'd come over with Adam Blooming, and they seem to be pretty good pals.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Kurt's married to Adam's sister. Yeah. That's where where the connection is. But they both came over and played really well. Both made the semis. So it's seeded 1 and 2, obviously Mikey and Jimbo. So Jimbo plays Kurt, and Mikey plays Adam Blooming.
And Kurt pushed Jimbo the most in that tournament. I think he did like 10-8.
Yeah, well, he actually Jimbo had quite a good lead at one stage.
Yeah.
And Kurt fought back to make a match of it, and then and Jimmy finished. I think it was 10-8 too. It might have been 10-9 even. Oh no, they all were raced to 11 those. I reckon it might have been 11-9.
11-9. Yeah, I know that it was only 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very close. And then on the other semi, we had Mikey and Adam, and Mikey was just too good. He played very well, and then Adam probably missed three balls I saw that I thought, you know, if he gets those, he can keep the game, you know, competitive.
Yeah.
And then it just because he missed a couple of those, and they were key balls, and they weren't glaring misses. They were those absolute rattle right in the hole.
Yeah.
And then each time Mike capitalised and looked like a whitewash. But I can't remember the total score, but it was 11-5 or something like that. But it could have been, there's probably at least 3 games that could have made it 8 all.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a whole different scenario. Final, fantastic. I mean,
well, John, I watched that final as well, and if anyone wants to see some fantastic a fantastic performance,
yeah.
get onto Empire Facebook page and watch that match, because Jimbo was unbelievable in that final, John.
His break, that's as good as I've ever seen anyone, but professionals as well.
Yeah.
I've never seen professionals break that smoothly.
Yeah.
And just get everything, like wing ball in, one misses, comes down this end, control the white ball, start the out, but everything just nicely separated.
Yeah.
You know, he never really had to move a lot of balls around. I think frame 2 was the only one that was difficult. And again, that was the only reason he had a chance in frame 2 was Mikey broke dry.
Yeah.
So Jimbo breaks and runs the rack. Mikey breaks dry, Jimbo runs the rack. Jimbo breaks and runs the rack. Mikey breaks dry, Jimbo runs. So it was 6-0.
Yeah. Right.
Three.
Mikey's been to the table 3 times.
Been to the table 3 times with dry rack. So
down.
very hard. And then got to 8-0. When he did start to get a ball, nothing was available. You know, just sort of balls cramped up, and I really felt sorry for Mikey, because I know how hungry he was to try and reverse the loss to Jimbo last time. As good a mates as they are, they're fiercely competitive against each other.
Want to win.
As you said in our I think our former post, that you thought that Jimmy actually starting to win these events now may hit the switch.
Yeah.
And you could see it. He played really well. You could see the hunger, rather than I can think I've watched them play, let's say for 5 years now, pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I've got a pretty good understanding of their games, and I saw Jimbo stand up to 3 times.
Yeah.
On the same shot. Yeah. In the past, he would have just got down and just gone back.
Well,
and then missed it and got, I missed it. But he really realised, it's not right. I'll just stand up and I'll readjust. I'll reset.
The other thing I noticed with Jimbo as well, John, is he's got the nickname Showboat, but when I watched him in that game, he was so clinical, and he seems to drop that big flurry shot out of his game. He's basically just going A, B, C, D.
Hey, look, he's finally learned that's how you win.
Yeah.
You don't need to be flash, because flash gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
The only time he actually opened his shoulders was in that frame 2.
Yeah.
We had a 3 ball up the rail, screw back, and then tried and whiz it past the black. Just caught the black on the way past.
Yeah.
But that was a beautifully cute shot. But that's what you use it for.
Yeah.
Not because you can.
Yeah. He's definitely tamed his game a little bit, and it's to his favour now, because John, on that weekend there, the US Open 9-ball final on as well, which I had a look at, and I reckon it sounds a bit crazy here, but the standard Jimbo was playing at was better than the final of the US Open 9-ball, and obviously they're a bigger tournament, bigger pressures and all of that, but I'd love to see Jimbo now go and play at a World Championship or play at a US Open or one of them events to test him now against the best players in the world, because his ability, what he's doing now, John, can't do any better. Just clear the table every time.
Just clear the table every time you go to the table.
And like you said, his break's fantastic. He's got control of that, which you need that first of all to be a world-class player, which Jimbo has. And then he clears the table, and he's also fantastic jump shots. So reads the game good. He moves the white ball around, clears up, can break. He's got the whole package now, and it would be nice to.
Well, I'd like to see back But Jimbo's the one that's most dedicated to this particular brand of Cuesports, because that's where he learned. I think he learned at Trev's. Was it Trev's, or he come and play at your place?
He would have started at Trev's, then then he came to Empire.
Okay. Yeah. So Trev, Trev had predominantly 9-ball tables. Yeah. That's where he first got hooked on the game, I suppose. And still waiting. He's got a new table coming. It must be here soon.
When you're ordering a professional table, what the pros are you playing on? There's some intent there, John.
It's not something. You're not just doing it to say, "Oh, let's go and have the best table in Adelaide."
Yeah.
It's because you want to learn how to the subtle intricacies of each table. Every style, every brand has something unique about it. And if you're going to play on the Pro Tour, you're going to go overseas and play, then you need to be familiar with their conditions.
Well, that's the only thing I can look from afar, because I haven't talked to James about it. He must have intentions of going overseas and trying, because you don't get that table.
Like he even told me he's sort of redoing the whole pool room.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the floors, I'm doing the curtains, I'm doing the lighting. And so I said, how much are you going to charge me to come around and practice? He said, I think I'll have to charge you something, mate. It's going to cost me about $35,000 to get this all set up. Good luck trying to get some cash out of me, mate.
Oh, well, he's been winning enough money lately.
Yeah, that's right.
To pay for it anyway, but
That's right. Yeah, that is
so,
tongue in cheek.
Jimbo, fantastic effort, fantastic performance. Mikey making the final, winning the doubles again. You're clearly the best two.
Best two nine-ball players in Australia, and I'll back you against anyone else who disagrees with me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to put 10 grand into a decent challenge match. So yeah.
Well, even Justin Sage, who would probably be Australia's premier #1 nine-ball player, or supposedly, I still think that Jimbo gets Justin.
Yep, I think so too, and even Mikey, I think.
Yeah, well, Mikey has have good records. I'm just saying, like what you're saying.
Justin's an excellent player, and admittedly, it's always difficult playing away from home.
Yeah.
So he, although the conditions apparently in a lot of the Sydney rooms aren't as good as what Empire has to offer, and we don't have a dedicated nine-ball centre.
Yeah.
Where that's just there for playing competitions, because you can't afford to have that. No one has. I mean, you're one of the few full-time venues, snooker only here, that can actually do it. And with the support of the club here, thanks to West Adelaide Footy Club and obviously Chris Wignall, who's happy to fund the venture.
Yeah.
It couldn't happen otherwise. But it's his personal love of the game that allows that to happen. We're just fortunate to have a sponsor of that magnitude.
Yeah.
Because trying to scratch together enough money to keep a club going these days, when it's not a commercial, open to the general public, then it's very hard.
Anyway, let's. They are arguably the best in Australia, and it's like a big year next year from you two boys.
Yep, that's right. Onward and upward, and they still. I'd like to think they get away to play in the World Cup pool.
Yeah.
I'm sure the APA would be looking at APPA. It is, I think, the local one. Will consider that, because obviously they want the best representation we can have in Australia to go away and play for us, and I think they decide who goes. There's no set tournament.
Well, they used to have the winner of the Australian title automatically went, but I'm not sure if they didn't have a tournament last year. I don't think with COVID, and they sent 2 players. Yeah. So hopefully, the fact they've won 3 tournaments in a row, John.
Well, it certainly differentiates them from the rest of the field. If they don't go, it would be an injustice, because we've got great players there, great ambassadors. Yeah. That's also another factor. Yeah. You go away to represent your country, you want to be able to market us as we'd like to see it done. And then both those boys do a beautiful job.
We're talking about representing your country, John. How's the 8-ball going in England? Oh, in Ireland. Sorry.
In Ireland, yes. Well, first time. Actually, they've moved out of the UK, out of England rather. And Ireland hosted it, and this one has been the first one. It's also funded by a professional group, the Ultimate Pool Group. Yeah. And again, a massive step forward for the game, because, as you know, when we first started going away, they still had cigarette sponsorship, so we actually got some pretty good deals. Good hotels to play in, umpires dressed in tuxedos. Everything was done, first class. You're very smart. And then obviously, as the sponsorship was taken away, then it's got harder and harder. And I haven't been back since '97. I think you and I were there that year, Phil. Yeah. That's the only second time I went, and the last time I went. And I know that a lot of the guys that went those early days have said, look, the conditions are nothing like what it used to be. Yeah. Guys take 3 minutes over a shot. There's no timing. Yeah. I think that will change now that Ultimate's got involved with it, because they're very time driven as well. So they'll make sure that those sorts of rules are policed correctly. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I can be the slowest player on the planet if you give me time.
Yeah.
But I know that, give me 30-30, I'm always going to get it done.
Yeah.
That's plenty for me, and I'm slow. Yeah, so, but yeah, all good. Boys have done pretty well. I think we've only got my last report, JL, thank you, John Lehman. Sent me a text this morning because he does text his stats every morning to see what's going on. He did mention that Benny Noonan was the only one left in the singles, the open singles. But we have, let me just go to that text.
I know last night, John, overnight, Jake got beat 7-8 in the last 64. Siwan got beat 7-8 in the last 64. Dave Ewing got beat 7-4. And Ben Noonan won 8-7. So there were some really tight
games that could have gone,
We could have had three in the last 32, and unfortunately only one went against us. I did see in the men's teams though, John, Australia doing well. I think they're sitting 3rd or 4th on the ladder.
Yep.
Played 8 and won 6. And I think one more, they potentially could get top 2 and get the bye into the semis. But yeah, they'll finish in the top 3, which should give them they'll either get the bye into the semis or they're going to play the team that finishes 6th.
Yeah.
And I looked at the table, and the table's sort of like two tables in one table. The top half is solid, and the bottom half drops away. So,
well, the big bonus to have Jake.
Very good.
Australia's #1 player was able to be integrated into the team. Which was fantastic, and apparently they had a vote, and everyone said yes.
Yeah.
No, we don't want him. And that's fantastic because not only is he a great player, he's a great team man, and he'll be a good inspiration to the players across the board. Because a lot of the guys have known Jakey. They came through the junior system together. Dave is a huge fan, and actually spent a couple of days in Stoke practicing with Jake prior to going over to the Worlds. So he was giving himself every chance. But yeah, I think that's going to be a huge boost to have a player of, as we know, the best player we've got in Australia today, and to have him involved in the team now, I think will give us a massive boost. So I'm really looking forward to how that goes. Now, what did I get from JL?
Tell you what, there was a big result though, John, was Shane Cripps making the semi-final of the singles.
Yes.
In the over 50s, and he beat the legendary Keith Brewer.
I tell you what.
In the finals. So.
Well, Keith, he'll be the first to tell you he's the man to beat. And he's obviously well done. Keith was he was the #1 ranked player in the UK for probably 10 years. But unfortunately couldn't win the World Championship. He's just one of those. He won everything else. But the bridge too far. He just could not conquer that big one. And I think it was because he put so much pressure on himself to, he would publicly say, "I'm the man to beat this year. I've done this," and he was correct. He wasn't really boasting. He was actually stating fact. But it just didn't happen for him. And I think he's since won the Masters. Which is over 50s singles a couple of times. So he still made his mark in the world stage as well, but he would have been highly disappointed they didn't do it when he was in his prime.
But still a
force to be reckoned with. Hey, look, that's a huge tick, Cripsy. What else was there? I think Adrian was going alright as well. Let me see here.
I see in the Open, Adrian Reilly won he had to play in the qualifiers, but I reckon he won 2 qualifiers, John, and won the first round, and then he got beat 8-7 in the next round. So I reckon he chalked up 3 wins and had an 8-7 defeat. So Adrian did fantastic.
Excellent. We've got Adrian Lancaster and Mark Bradley. They're into the last 26 in the over 50. I don't know how they get last 26. This is obviously a different format. They didn't have the right amount of players to actually make it right, but this is the information I'm getting anyway. Cripsy and Darren Waite are in the quarterfinals of the Scotch doubles, over 50s. So Darren Waite, I think they won something else recently too. Darren, I can't remember who he played with, but just in the back of my brain something popped up. The open men's team were third on the ladder, the ladies team fifth on the ladder, and juniors are second on the ladder. So, what was the other? Daniel is in the last 32, under 25s, I think it is.
Yeah, okay.
So it was good to see Daniel playing well. I think he started pretty well in the Open as well. Someone said he had a really strong win early.
Well, he's a great player too, John. So I think that he could still go far in that juniors.
Hey, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if Daniel is set, and he won 8 ball,
Australian 8 ball, yeah.
Australian 8 ball,
Beating Jimbo and Mike.
Well, he beat everyone. He beat Justin as well.
And Justin.
Yeah. So like when he is set, as long as he can keep his mind calm and avoid distractions, he's as good as we've got. I've seen him just play immaculate pool, but it can actually get sort of sidetracked mentally, and then when something goes off, unfortunately, he struggles to get it back on. But I've seen his best, and his best is as good as anyone. So I'd love to see him
he's
go
another one
really
of
well.
the juniors that's come through, along with Jaden and Jimbo and Mikey and Alex and yourself. So he's been nurtured along the line. He's come through a really good school, and he's good friends with all them. So I've got big things.
Hey, look, that's right. He practices a lot with Jimbo and with Dave. Dave's probably going to be his last year this year. He said he's back sort of murdering him. He rang me the other day and he was in agony. He had awful back pain. He couldn't get to sleep. He's had curvature of the spine since he was born. So it's something he's battled with. He's kept himself super fit to try and build strength around his back. But he said the other day, he said it was just excruciating. He managed to actually tough it out and get on, and that's what you've got to do. Really, you've got to slide down and sort of put your hands up. You still got to keep fighting. And he's done that, and he's also thanked both Benny and Jake for helping get his head straight and get sort of just put it out of your mind and do the best you can. It's not going to go away, so no good dwelling on it. And he was very positive when I spoke to him last night. So they were just about to start. So that must have been about 9 in the morning, their time, when I spoke with him. So, but yeah, he's in a much better space. Yeah, but I know when he's calling me, it's like, Dad, what's going on? I'm in trouble.
Well, good luck to all the Aussies over there anyway. I'm confident there's still plenty of time to get results and win trophies and have strong finishes, and they're all fantastic players. So.
Yep. And we're only, 3 weeks away now from our nationals at Albury. Yeah. You had some billiard information, I think.
Yeah, well, we had, in that last week, we had 2 tournaments, John. So we had the final of the State 6 Red. So first of all, we had the minor, which was Matt Milkey playing Hikmat Tharpa. Matt Milkey won it the previous year.
Okay.
I had Hikmat favourite, and Matt got up and won 4-2. I refereed that match, and Matt Milkey played fantastic. So played a lot better than I expected him to do, and he got up and won 4-2. So congratulations, Matt, on defending and winning your second state minor 6 Red title. But the showcase of the night, John, was Stacey Vine versus Tyson.
Okay.
Trinitas in the final. Stacey had recently played Tyson in the final of the Championship League, and he got beat 5-1 in the final. I knew that would be enough to stir the bear, and he'd come out fighting, but the only thing I can say is what I've physically seen, John, and Stacey hasn't been in the room, and Tyson is constantly in the room, and Tyson's a world-class player. And after the first frame, Tyson won the first frame convincingly, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, this could get ugly. And in the second frame, Tyson was 26 ahead or 25 ahead on the colours. He misses a yellow he should get, and Stacey clears the colours, and he knocked in a great green and he knocked in a great pink to clear the colours, and all of a sudden the bear was awakened.
Yeah.
And this match turned, John, and Stacey just went bang, 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 bang. He's now 4-1 up and playing superb, and Tyson's in a hole. And Stacey, to go 5-1, he only needs to pot the he only needs to pot the red, the blue, and the yellow. He's on the last red, the blue, and the yellow, and he goes 5-1 up. Stacey lands on the wrong side of the blue to get on the yellow, so he punches the blue in to go up and down to get on the yellow.
Yeah.
Misses the blue, lands fat on the yellow, and Tyson clears up to go 4-2.
Okay, so reverse of the last one.
And then all of a sudden, the next one's close, 4-3. The next one's close, it's 4-all. And now all of a sudden that match has turned and it's a race to 6.
Yeah.
Stacey gets up and goes 6-5 up. And then at 6-5, Stacey should have won that frame as well, John. He missed. He had a shot at the pink to win the match. He's clearing the colours.
Yeah.
And all he needs is the pink. And the same thing's happened. He's landed on the wrong side of the blue. So instead of being able to pot the blue and drift down onto the pink, he's landed the wrong side. So all he's done is potted the blue and screwed back and given himself a shot at the pink. Misses the pink. Tyson then flukes the pink, John, and plays safe on the black. Then Stacey takes the black on, gets the black and goes in off. So Stacey's won the match twice now. Well, should have won the match twice. Goes to the decider, and to cut a long story short, both players could have won, and Tyson gets up and wins on the black. So it was an epic final. It was a phenomenal final. It was
full of drama.
It was a final that Stacey will think, how did he lose? How did I lose? Yeah. And Tyson will think, that's one that I got given to me, because Stacey rose to the occasion. Like, we know he's a champion and he can do, and he did.
Yeah.
He outplayed Tyson that day.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, the gods of snooker, they just decided it wasn't Stacey's day that day. And so Tyson, congratulations on winning your 3rd title this year. He's won the state title, the championship, and now he's won the 6th red. A superb player, played fantastic, and Stacey also a great player. What I loved about Stacey was he came back from that defeat a few weeks ago and took it to Tyson and played superb. And as I said, John, it's a mystery how he didn't win that comp. And for some reason he didn't. But anyway, well done to both players, and especially to Tyson getting up and winning. And we also had the Adelaide Billiards League, John, singles competition. So all our billiards comps in Snooker SA are in teams, which are teams of 2.
Yeah.
But this year we introduced a singles event for that league, and although it was handicapped, Peter Udich and Arthur still dominated the competition. And at the end of, so we held a season where the players were playing 1-hour matches, and we ran a league, and the top 4 made the semi-finals. And Peter Udich finished 1 and Arthur finished 2. Obviously the top 2 players in the state.
Yep.
In the semi-final, Dennis Wignall defeated Arthur, which was a massive upset, and Craig Hess defeated Peter Udich in the other semi, which was also another upset.
Yeah, well.
So Craig Hess pipped Dennis Wignall by 19 points in the final. They played for an hour, and I think the handicap was almost level, and he ended up winning by 19 points. So it was a fantastic event.
Yep.
Craig Hess, a former minor state billiards champion. Dennis Wignall has won the Masters Billiards, so they're both in their own right good billiard players. It was an excellent final, and congratulations, Craig, defeating Dennis in the final and winning our inaugural Adelaide Billiards singles competition. We also, for all the players that didn't make the top 4, we ran a plate job. Cool. And the final there was between the legendary Max Renzia.
Oh, Max, yeah, Maxie.
And Gary Dunn, who is a new player to our venue. He's been here for just over a year, a competitor.
Okay.
And he made the final. He played Max in the final. But the good thing about watching Max in the final, it's like he wound back the clock, John, because he was struggling in the league, but he wound back the clock in that final, and it was casual Max.
Yeah.
And he won the final quite convincingly, and it was nice to see him, because he plays different to a normal billiard player.
Well, he's always played multi-cushion cannons.
Balls going around.
He's not interested in just playing, sort of controlled shots. He loved to keep the white moving, and the more cushions he could hit before making a cannon, the better he felt about it. Yeah.
So an amazing feat watching him play well when he's playing good. And
he is a very entertaining billiard player.
He was so happy when he won. He told me he watched the show all the time. So I said, we'll mention
all the best, Max.
Max. So congratulations, Max, on winning the plate, and excellent stuff from Gary Dunn making the final and coming second. So
Now, just one thing I've overlooked, Phil. We actually, on the weekend, we as in the Masters,
Yep.
SA Masters had 2 practice matches.
Yep.
So we had a practice match which was hosted by Caruso's.
Yep.
And Don put on a fabulous barbecue, which apparently Calvin went out there to help him cook with. So it was fantastic. By the time we arrived, all the food was cooked, and we just sat there and had a sausage sizzle with the boys. And it was the first probably test, because we all thought the Masters team's an excellent side. Now, admittedly, we got a couple of players away. Reilly was away and Cuesport was away. And they had to take the team manager in to make up, the 6 players. So I managed to get a Guernsey. And they just outplayed us. They played very, very well. We played.
Did they have a Masters team, or did they just put a team up?
I reckon it was predominantly Masters, yeah.
Okay.
In the younger side of the Masters, sort of late 40s and early 50s, rather than the over 60s group that we had. But we were credentialed players, and they weren't.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we should have had a better showing. But what they did do is give the team a good boot up the bum and say, look, this is not good enough. We need to come out firing from the start. So we were very grateful to Dom and the boys and for putting on that, because actually it was a very good lesson learned. And then we had a second match on the Sunday against the Adelaide Cup team, which is how do you call it? A new initiative by the AEBF to allow players that are on the fringe, that haven't qualified to play for their state before, to go away and put a team in at the Nationals. So we played Larry Cavallaro. He's the captain of that side, and he put their team together, and we give them a bit of a beating.
Okay.
Now, to their credit, they came back really well, because we jumped them 7-0 first round. Six. How many players? No, we had 7.
So you were hurting from the day before then, John?
Oh yeah. There was and helped. We had Reilly back, and Reilly's one of our stronger, more aggressive players, and that helped too. But we were 10-0 up.
Wow.
And then won, I think it was 18-10.
Yeah.
So good comeback. They won the second half of the match.
Yeah.
Which was good for them, and good for Larry to be able to see his guys respond that way too. That they hadn't just thrown in the towel and allowed us to run over them. They fought back really well. So a good weekend of pool and good practice matches for all. Yeah. So thanks to Dom, and thanks to Lara and the boys for having hit out with the SA Masters team.
Fantastic, John. Just before we go, I just want to let everyone know that Snooker SA is still holding T140 snooker competitions on a Friday night. We had a healthy turnout on Friday. We had like 11 players playing the event.
Okay.
It's not just for snooker players. It's for anyone to play. If you play 8-ball, 9-ball, American pool, you're still welcome to come here to Snooker SA and get involved in a T140 snooker event on a Friday night. You do get a player advantage, roughly like a handicap, which will you get each frame, which will help you. And it's a fun night on a Friday night. So if you've got nothing to do, want something to look at, come down to Snooker SA on a Friday night. It starts at 7:30. Get here at 6:30, have a practice for an hour, and get involved in our Friday night T140 event.
So just when you thought you could get away, there's one more thing.
Come on, John.
The World 8-Ball Pool Federation, Phil. They're hosting the World Champs.
This is big news.
The AGM there for the World Body have voted to play international rules at the World Champs next year.
Yeah.
So it means that it's almost compelling the rest of us member countries to adopt the international rules, which you and I would be more than happy to do. And there's no, in our case, we've got our, not necessarily our AGM, but we'll have a SA association will have a meeting here and decide what rules we're going to play in Super League next year. Now, Super League next year, as you know, won't start till January in the winter season. But before then, there'll be plenty of notice about what rules we're going to play.
Yeah.
But there's a strong hint here that we'll probably be playing international rules. So if you're unfamiliar with them, find out what they are, play them. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So yes, it is a different game. There's no two shots. It's all fouls, ball in hand. Someone said, oh, these rules are designed specifically for these tables. They're actually American rules with one adaptation, in that, you know, everything else, or one addition rather. All the rules are similar to the same rules we play at Vina when we've gone away to Vegas. And the only variance being that if you're snookered, you must make a genuine attempt to get out of it. So you can't just kill the ball and say, well, yeah, you got ball in hand, but good luck trying to get that out of there.
Well, that minor rule there, John, is probably going to be the biggest shake-up in our two-shot game, because we've always known that at any time you don't have to get out the snooker. You can just tap the ball, you can kill a ball. Where now
you lose the game, you lose the frame.
So for all the
you
people
must
that
make a genuine attempt.
learn that skill, now you've got to learn another skill, which is get out of snookers or play more snookers, John.
Yeah, well, hey, look, there's always two sides to every story, Phil.
Yeah.
And I know that there's no one more analytical about the game than you are, and if there's some way we can work out to make it more difficult for players, Phil will find it for you. But yeah, thanks. That's as much as I've got, Phil.
Yeah. Well,
I've emptied the tank and a couple of things I forgot.
Yeah, well, on that rule, John, we went from the old rules, which was very stodgy.
Yes, correct.
Then we changed it to the rules that we play now, and that was a progression to the sport.
Definitely,
There was a few casualties because people didn't like that, and they thought, oh, this is just for potters. Well, it's not just for potters, and now the game's progressed again, you know, and it's taken 25 years or longer, 30 years for it to happen.
93 we changed to the current rules, what we call world rules, and now next year, so it'll be 30 years.
Yeah,
if the change occurs next year in Australia, which is most likely will be 30 years for the, and it's an evolution.
That's right, it's evolution. So anyway, it's all good stuff. Anyway, John,
good mate. Always great to catch up.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you around the traps.